Welcome to the WinCATI video tour. WinCATI, a computer-assisted telephone interviewing system, is composed of 3 applications connected to a central database server. This segment is part 1 of the Supervisor application. The Supervisor application is the control center of a WinCATI project. The main WinCATI study window is divided into 4 sections: Study, Interviewers, Setup, and Reports and Data Analysis. The Study section allows you to give your study a short description and assign passwords to control access. There are 3 levels of security within WinCATI study passwords. Report, the lowest level, gives access only to run reports. No study settings can be changed. Study gives access to reports, study settings, and the sample database. Finally, DB access allows the user to change anything in the study, including internal database fields. The Interviewer section allows you to create and manage your interviewers and their assignments. The Interviewers list window is a global list of all the interviewers you have created in WinCATI. Any interviewer you create or modify here is available to all of your studies. Each interviewer is given an ID number to allow them to log into the system using the Interviewer application. As you create or look up interviewers, you may choose to display their name or ID number to make the lookup easy. Each interviewer may be given different properties to indicate their capabilities, which may then be used to assign appropriate sample records to them. For example, a popular use of this feature is to assign foreign language records to interviewers who speak that language. Here we'll give Jack Brown both the English and Spanish properties so that when he logs onto the interview application, he'll get only those records which we've identified to be English or Spanish-speaking respondents. WinCATI also has the ability to monitor your interviewer's computer screen while they are collecting data and rate them on their performance. These ratings can be based on any attribute you specify. Here we have created ratings for pronunciation, interview pace, and politeness. Moving to the Setup section of the main study window, we find all the settings and database records available to this study. If we select the Specs item, we then have the option to create new specifications from scratch or select the existing specs from another study. WinCATI makes it easy to reuse work you've already done in other studies. You can bring in all or some of the specs, sample records, email messages, and questionnaires from other studies, and then modify them. Let's bring in some of the specs from another study. To do this, we click the Select button and choose the settings. We can bring in all the specs from a single study, or we can pick and choose individual groups of settings. Now we're able to review and make changes to these settings by clicking the Edit button. The Specs window is organized into tabs that correspond to the same categories we saw on the Select window. Any category we did not select will be populated with WinCATI's default settings. The first tab, Sample Settings, provides some general settings to control how sample records are released to the interviewers. The Time Zones tab defines the calling hours for your study. You can specify ranges of time for different time zones listed in respondent time. In other words, you don't have to manually convert times to your local time. Just tell WinCATI what times to call in that area, and WinCATI will convert the times for you. When an interviewer logs on to a study, they will only get sample records to dial for those time zones that are open, based on these rules. The No Answers tab gives you the ability to create rules to govern how records are attempted when your last try to contact that person resulted in a no answer. You can specify ranges of time to try that record again, or a relative time such as 3 hours later. Moving on to the Quotas tab, we see all the quota specifications for this study. You can define your quotas based on any value collected in the survey or any field in the sample database. If you already have the information to classify a respondent before speaking with them, you can use what we call pre-assigned quotas. This greatly improves your interviewer productivity by eliminating unnecessary calls once your quota cells start to fill up. The Dispositions tab contains a list of all possible call attempt dispositions and settings to determine how the record is handled once receiving any particular disposition. WinCATI provides a couple of standard sets of dispositions. You can use them, modify them, or create a completely new set of dispositions. That concludes Part 1 of our tour of the Supervisor application. Please run Part 2 to continue. If you have any questions about what you've seen here, please contact us to speak with the representative.